This is One UI 7 and this is iOS 18.2, and in this episode we're going to go ahead and compare them to see which is going to be the better software for you going into 2025. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. One UI 7 beta did launch a few days ago, and iOS 18.2 just actually came out today. And today I want to talk about some of the comparisons and differences between the software. It's very exciting that we have a new update here for Samsung, and iOS 18's been out a while, but now we have the ChatGPT integration, improved AI features, and Image Playground as well came to the 18.2 software. All right, so when we look at the icons, you can see right here that the Samsung's One UI 7 actually does have a few updates to their icons. They definitely look a little bit newer, a little bit different, and you can see that while they are similar to iOS, they do have a little bit of a different shape, and the actual look of the phone dialers are different angles. For example, you could also see a different browser over there versus this one. And overall, they both do look pretty competitive with each other. Some people don't like the way Samsung looks. Some people don't prefer the way iOS looks, but it really comes down to your personal preference. Now, if I go ahead and swipe up, you're going to go ahead and see that we do have a vertical app drawer. Let's go over here to the alphabetical order when you can actually go left to right now, which is like how it used to be. And then if we go over here to alphabetical order, it switches back to vertical app drawer. So that's pretty nice overall here for the One UI 7. Now, when comparing it to iOS 18.2 on the right, you are going to see yourself the traditional layout of icons that we're used to from the iOS. However, they do have the new Image Playground here now. So now you can use the Image Playground and create your own generative AI images, which is definitely different and something that we don't see over there on the Samsung device. So pretty nice feature there. Some people say it's gimmicky, but every time a software comes out, everybody has, there's a lot of people that are going to say it's gimmicky. This feature is gimmicky, whatever. I don't like it. This is just like the same comment we get all the time. So it just really depends on if you use a feature, just like the camera control. For some, it's gimmicky. For some, it is useful. It really just depends on you. But back to the icons, one of the differences, though, if we go ahead and take a look at iOS 18, is that when you do the automatic dark mode, or if you go over here, let's go back to edit. If you go to tint, it will tint all these icons as color, although they're usually in a darker format. If we go over to customize, you go to dark, you can leave it in dark, and it kind of makes all the icons dark. Now, if you go over here to the Samsung device and you throw it here, One UI 7 in dark mode, all those icons are not fully darkened. So we'll see if that changes in upcoming betas, but as of now, it's definitely not all darkened on the icons. Now, if we go over here, wallpapers, and we go to the color palette, you can change the color palette, and then we'll go ahead and hit apply. And if we change the palette, it should change the overall look. It'll be a little bit more blue now in here, which is quite nice. In addition, if we go to this color palette, let's see what happens to the icons here. So now you'll see most of them are, but not all of them, but tons of them are. So it seems like more of them are a little bit different. Let's go ahead and see if we come out of dark mode. So you'll see they do have light mode here. So that's nice for One UI 7. And if we go back to dark mode, it'll darken them out. So this definitely looks a little bit more dark, if you will, at nighttime. However, I still wish that every single icon would be in this color palette when I go ahead and change it. So I think iOS is a little cleaner looking there in the current software than the Samsung, but definitely nice on both of them. All right, so let's look at the quick layout over here, or the quick panel layout. You can see now in a vertical tray, easier to find your stuff right here instead of like swiping left to right. In addition, you'll see that you have the brightness control slider right there. And you can also change this to where one side will bring down notifications, the other side, but I have it kind of in the older format. You can also pull down here. You can also go two like that. But if you pull down here, you'll see the whole entire UI is kind of got this pill-like shape to it, kind of like something over here on the iPhone, the dynamic island. You'll see pretty much all the UI elements are kind of in this pill format, including the brightness slider, including notifications. If we scroll over here, you'll see the search bar looks like that. The battery indicator looks like that. In addition, these things, the widgets, now look like that as well. So it's kind of got that whole look, and the new now bar, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So definitely you'll see that there, that kind of like theming going on throughout the whole OS with this like pill looking shape. Now they have the dynamic island here, and you'll see we do have the control center, which you can populate tons of icons on the second page right here. And it's definitely quite useful, I would say, for majority of people. It's definitely easy. However, I do think it looks a little bit cluttered. I think Samsung's One UI looks a little cleaner because, this is just like everything in one spot. It just doesn't look super clean to me. However, it definitely looks polished. So I like the way it looks. I think it's a clean look here on iOS, but I wish it was a little bit like less cluttered. It just feels kind of cluttered to me over here, but that's just my take. You might differ. Both of them do have really useful and nice quick control and control panel areas. Now, looking further into the app drawers, the differences are pretty stark. You'll see that we do have this vertical format, and you can alphabetically sort through here to find your applications. Again, if we go over here and we sort by custom order, we'll be able to go like this, and you can clean up pages still like you were able to do before. But when you're in this format, you'll have to search. It's no alphabets down here, so you'll search like that. And then if we want to switch back to vertical, it's going to go back to we're going to go back to the alphabetical order. I wish they would put alphabetical order in both ways of using it, but definitely it's got a little bit more of a customized feel there within their app drawer. App library over here to me is very clean and organized as well. And then if you go over here and click right here, you can swipe through alphabetically up and down. It's pretty easy to find stuff. However, I do think that this is a little less intuitive in terms of with the Samsung phone, it's in an alphabetical order. Your brain just naturally is going to go in that alphabetical order, versus over here, you kind of got to find the category in something. So sometimes I just go like this to find things. At the end of the day, both of them have pretty clean, organized app libraries and app drawers. With One UI 7, you do get this nice looking app switcher. It's definitely kind of iOS-y like, I'm not going to lie, the way it goes to the left and right. It doesn't look very different, but it does have a different animation, which is quite smooth. And definitely gives it a feel that you're just running through the software very smooth. We'll talk a little bit more about animations. But one of the best features to me about Samsung is that button right there, close all. Because I don't like that I have to close every app, especially I know some people say you don't have to close the app. Sometimes I like to. Don't tell me what to do. I definitely like to close the app sometimes. And so for the iPhone, I wish they would put like an X or a close all button of some sort, because it's definitely kind of tedious when you want to like just refresh things and close out a bunch of applications on iOS. Now, when it comes to adding custom pages, if we hold down right here, you can see that we can click on these dots. And you also do have the ability to go over here to this page and create either a Google Discover page or a Samsung News page. So that's really up to you. I usually have that off because it's distracting to me. But you can add multiple pages over here. And then you could even have blank pages. That's one thing I like about the Samsung. If you don't want like a ton on your screen, you could have icons at the bottom. You could have little blank pages. Over here on the iPhone, you got to have at least like one app per page. But you'll click down here and you can hide the pages, which is something I'm not sure we can do here on a Samsung. So I definitely would like to be able to hide pages. But you can hide pages, and I do that often for my videos because I got like my personal page. I don't need to showcase on the video. So we do launch our speed test applications page right here. And you'll see that you can move these around and organize them. So pretty nice and clean. I do think the Apple's version is a little bit cleaner to see because you don't got to swipe left and right. You can just kind of see all 4 pages right there. But definitely similar customization. But it just seems like you can have tons of pages and a little bit more flexibility on the Samsung though when it comes to this area. Also, you'll see that you can easily access the wallpapers here. And speaking of wallpapers, within this iOS 18.2, you don't really get anything new in the way of wallpapers. But if we scroll down, and I go down, it's just the same ones you've been used to. iOS 18 over here. Samsung doesn't really include many, and they actually took away some of my Galaxy S24 wallpapers here. You can create some with AI, which I did with this wallpaper on this current phone. And I know you can just find different wallpapers elsewhere besides just over here, but definitely I just feel like there's slightly more options there stock for the iPhone. So. But you can get infinite with the AI, so that's another counterpoint. You can create AI wallpapers right on the phone. So we're going to talk a little bit more about AI, but that's kind of like how the different pages look, adding wallpapers and stuff of that sort. Now, when we look at the widgets, you can see we are in the pill format here. And if we go to widgets, you'll see pretty much even the suggestion ones you're going to see here are kind of like with that shape. If we go over here, you'll see they kind of have another one right there. If we go to calendar, you'll see right there. Battery, they got the pill shape right there. The whole look is just definitely updated. Definitely a little bit nicer, I would say. Now over here for the iPhone, go to over here to add widgets. You'll see that these devices right here are, both similar and that they both have nice widgets, but I do think iPhones look a little bit more polished. Samsungs are pretty close though. They're getting really good here with One UI 7. But Apple definitely has a lot of options, and definitely while they're not as interactive as the ones on the Samsung, they definitely look nicer. So it's really down to, do you want the function or the pretty look of the iPhone? That's really what it comes down to. And they both have search bars for the widgets right here. And they're also resizable. But again, just the ones on the iPhone are a little bit less interactive, but they both have the ability to easily resize. And at least the Apple ones are pretty darn nice though. So it kind of just moved all my icons. And this is one of the things I don't like about the iPhone. All these apps, they just get easily cluttered, because when you put one app in the corner, they just start moving things around very simply. It's annoying. And I know you can there's workarounds, but it just kind of seems like things still always want to fly to the corner on the iPhone. I'm not a fan of that. I like to just kind of put the things wherever I want them and just sit right there. Which you can do. You can put them wherever you want, but it's a little bit more tedious, I'm finding, on the iPhone to do that than on the Samsung. It's just a little bit easier. So going into 2025, which one is going to be better with AI? Now, with Apple's 18.2, we did bring ChatGPT integration, which I talked about in my iOS 18.2 release video. Now, Samsung does lay out all their AI features right here, but you do have the ability to transcribe and record calls now for One UI 7, Chat Assist, a live interpreter, Note Assist, so you can translate text, you can summarize text. In addition to that, you can also do different generated, text inside of your notes. So both of them do have competitive note options. Summaries in browsing and writing assist, drawing assist. Drawing assist is going to be better on more of a S Pen like Samsung phone. But over here for Apple, you are getting ChatGPT integration. You are getting the ability to, when you use notes, to go ahead. So within the notes, you'll see one thing I want to talk about as well before we move on is the keyboard. You do have a number row on Samsung. Still no number row here for the iPhone. So that's an improvement to the Samsung phone. They do have their Galaxy AI feature right there, which will show you what it can do. It can summarize, it can auto-format spelling and grammar, and translate. Now, over here for the iPhone, you do have different writing tools such as proofreading, rewrite, as well as different ways to change it out. But this newer feature now allows you to use ChatGPT to draft text and supporting images. So this is kind of really pushing it to the next level by having one of the best AI chat out there, integrated right within the iOS experience. That is pretty cool. Although it's funny because I think ChatGPT was down today on the same day they released this for iPhone. Pretty weird how that happened. Maybe because everybody's using it, was crashing. I'm not sure. That's just a theory. This is what I think. But you could see over here, we do have similar features on Samsung. I don't think either way you go, you're going to be disappointed with these. They're both going to give you some groundbreaking new things. You also get circle to search. And because the Samsung is an Android phone, Google Gemini, you can change this thing to Gemini right here, is integrated within the Android ecosystem. So you can just use that really easily. You can also use Gemini on here, but it's going to be in an application. It's not integrated within it like it is over there. You can also see that Siri is able to be type 2, but Siri also will be using ChatGPT integration. And they both can scan things. So this one has visual intelligence with the camera control button. And then the Samsung is going to you can use Google Lens on any Android phone. So that's pretty cool as well. Either way you go, you have a lot to play with AI. It really is pretty groundbreaking how smart the phones are getting now, if they support these things. But you got to use them. Really, they are kind of gimmicky if you don't use them. If you use the features, though, they could be game-changing for you, depending on how you use them. It's not that you don't have them. It's how and will you use them. If you don't, then you can just basically get any phone. Doesn't have to support this. When it comes to the search functions, this is at the bottom, and this is a little bit higher. So it's really down to, what do you prefer it at? But this one kind of can search images. So if you type in something right here, you'll see that it'll kind of showcase to you different images right in there. Whereas this one is going to, like if we type the same thing right here, if we do this, they'll show images here in different sections, but not exactly the same. They'll kind of launch you into YouTube and stuff of that sort. But overall, their search functionality from the base home screens is quite easy and pretty system wide. So I do like that. Now when we go into settings here, let's take a look at the different looks and settings. Also the back gestures on Android, you can come from both sides, so it's pretty neat. And if we go over here in the settings on this side, you'll see both of them do have a pretty nice layout and settings. Samsung has a little bit bigger of a section here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw these out of dark mode so we can see the look of them a little bit better. You'll see that on the iPhone, we do have like this shape right here. This also has a shape around here. Look how nice both of these look though. It's really quite neat. And I think we could actually make this look smaller if I lower the text size. So let me lower the font down a little bit. Let's see. Okay, now I didn't really make this too much smaller, but somewhat. But you can see that both of them pretty neat and organized with where they put their things. Apple finally put an app section to organize the settings menu. And over here you have all your apps for the Samsung. And both of them do really have a nice, easy to locate feature set within settings. And both very smooth in that area as well. Very, very nice experience on both products right here. Making phone calls, both of them can record calls now. You also do have the ability to access all your settings right from the app itself, which is a common theme amongst Samsung devices, whereas with iPhone, some things are still buried in the settings. If we want to access phone settings, we got to go down to apps, scroll down till we find phone under P right there. And now we'll be able to see what we can do right here. Like call recording is on if I want to use it, respond with text. There's a few other things, block contacts, but you can access all of that right here within the phone dialer itself on the One UI. So I do think One UI leaving all the settings within most of the core apps without having to dig around in settings does make that a little bit easier to use. However, some people probably won't use all those features and then it's kind of pointless. But I'd rather have it there than have to go dig around and look around for it. That gets very annoying real quick on the iPhone. Of course, on the One UI 7, if you do go with this phone, you do get App Edge panel. You can do split screen multitasking. You can also pop views wherever you want them. And of course, they're not going to be always functional on a screen such as the S24, which is pretty small, but you do have the ability to go ahead and split the screen like that. Something I wish all iPhones would do. And once they do this, it's going to be a lot more of a tight race when it comes to the competition. You also see that the battery indicators are a little bit different, but Samsung definitely looks like it's taking inspiration from iOS with their battery indicator now looking definitely a little bit different. Even the font on the clock looks a little bit more similar to the font on the clock there. As a matter of fact, I think I made that text a little bit too small now. So let me raise that back up just a little bit and we'll see that font get a little bit bigger on the clock right there. Also, I wanted to talk about the Now bar for this new software. So if we go over here, search to Now, you'll see the Now bar for the lock screen and AOD. If we put this here, you'll see it's now going to show music, live notifications, and modes and routines. We'll do a timer to just kind of showcase what this does, or a stopwatch actually. You'll see a little pill shape up there, which can kind of emulate what Apple does with their dynamic island. So that's definitely going to be pretty similar. You can see they definitely took inspiration there. At the bottom, you'll see we do have the Now bar showcasing that we are running a stopwatch, and other live notifications and things that are going on are going to appear here as well. So that's definitely different as well for One UI 7. That's a new update that you might like, you might not care about, but that all happens within Dynamic Island as well. It's been happening. So I would argue that that was definitely inspiration taken from this phone right here. Which one do you think looks better? Let me know down below. The integration, I think, looks more polished on the iPhone, but that's just my take. You could disagree. It's up to you. If you go with One UI 7 or go with a Samsung phone headed into 2025, the calculator is a pretty nice setup. I do want to talk about these. I know it's just an app, but it is an important app for calculating your day-to-day finances and stuff of that sort. You'll see we do have the history section. So 5 times 5 plus 6, 31. If we go back, you'll see the history right there. We also have unit converters for tip, time, speed, data, mass, volume, temperature, and more. We also have a scientific calculator, and that's about it. So we've had that for a while on the Samsung phone. Another thing is that if you keep hitting equal, the Samsung will keep giving you the infinite calculations right there. That's something, I don't know if you knew that the iPhone doesn't do. So if we hit the calculation, you hit the equal sign, it doesn't keep going. So that could be annoying if you like to do those infinite, calculations. However, if you look down here, we do have ourselves basic scientific calculator. And then if we go over here, we have math notes, which is definitely a little smarter than what the Samsung calculator can do. You can draw out equations and stuff of that sort. So I would say the Apple calculator is definitely ahead of where it used to be. However, I don't really use math notes all that much, but some of you might use that more so on an iPad or something. Both of them are pretty close, pretty equal there in their calculators. You can also do conversions as well on the iPhone. You can go ahead and click right here, flip these around, see what the different, currencies are, data, energy, and more. There's a ton going on. So either way, both are giving you great calculators without ads. That's pretty good. I don't like ads in my calculator. When looking at the battery settings, we do have different abilities to check and change the charging settings, which is going to be neat on both. If we go to wireless power sharing, that's something we're not going to have over here. They'll tell you your battery information. And then if I go to battery protection, I turn this on, you'll see we have adaptive, maximum. Now, when you put on maximum for the Samsung, they have that similar feature where you can stop the charging to avoid destroying your battery, as what Apple has under charging right here. They tell you the recommended charge limit, and you can change that on both. So that's a pretty similar, customization factor on both of them. That's a new one for the Samsung. It was kind of already on iPhone. So either way you go there, you do have a lot of usage and different ways you can customize the way you use your battery. Okay guys, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is the camera. So Samsung on One UI 7 has moved a lot of features down here so it's more one-hand usable for the One UI 7. It's definitely going to feel that way. Apple has already had those features pretty low at the bottom, so I would say Samsung took more inspiration here. However, a lot of your camera settings still have to be found within Apple's setting app over there on the right, whereas over here, you'll still be able to access most of what you need to do right within the camera itself. So definitely, I would say the Samsung phone giving you more features to play around with right here within the camera settings. So you click the settings icon right there and everything is right there. So at least they didn't take that away. On the iPhone, of course, everything is easy, very nicely laid out. I really love it. And it is pretty awesome, the photo styles and everything. You do have to scroll down the camera to find more. You have to go over here to find more controls. So once again, a couple steps more on the iPhone and no right side back gesture, only on the left side. So that's going to wrap it up. We didn't cover every single thing. You can really go much deeper with customization on the Samsung. We do have Samsung DeX, which is something you don't have over here. You can use this as a display port, and you can beam this to Apple TV Plus. Apple TV, TV Plus is a subscription. Apple TV, your hardware that you plug into your TV, you can beam this up there. Mirror on Macs, iPhone screen mirroring. You could do link to Windows on here as well, so you can have this on your Windows laptop. So they're pretty competitive in almost every single feature set. For everything there is on the iPhone, there's something on the One UI. For everything on the One UI, there's something close, if not similar on the iPhone. But I would say Samsung's still taking the crown for more customization while now adding some of the polish that Apple has. And that's how I'm going to wrap it up here. We should look too at the animations. If you see right here, Samsung went to town on their animations, definitely looking really smooth. And even the transitions between, different apps is just going to be a really nice experience here going forward. If we come out of here, you'll even see this like ripple effect on here. The whole look, you can tell they're trying to polish it up. They know people want a polished feel because they know from research that people love the iPhone's polished feel. The phone is still a super, super mature system that some people are still going to prefer over that one. So let me know your thoughts. Which one do you think better? Which one do you think the ecosystem is better? Which one are you going to choose? Which one are you using at the end of 2024? And which one do you think you're going to use going into 2025? I'm curious to know. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see the S25 series take on the iPhone 16 series with this all new One UI 7. I'll catch you on the next episode, and be subscribed for that content because it's coming in 2025. Catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.